To understand the art of building a strong team through Machiavellian principles, we must begin not in a boardroom or on a battlefield, but in the shadowed corridors of Renaissance Florence, a city of intrigue, ambition, and fragile alliances. Here, in 1469, Niccolò Machiavelli was born, not into nobility, but into opportunity. Florence was a republic in name, but power shifted like sand. Medici rulers, foreign kings, mercenaries, and revolutionaries all vied for dominance. For Machiavelli, politics was never an abstraction. It was blood, betrayal, and strategy, played out in real time. By the age of 29, he had risen to become the second chancellor of the Florentine Republic, effectively a senior civil servant, diplomat, and strategist. He negotiated with kings, he observed generals, he advised governments, and most importantly, he watched people carefully. Machiavelli lived at the crossroads of collapse and possibility. He saw what held power together and what tore it apart. When the Medici family returned to power and ousted him, Machiavelli was tortured, imprisoned, and exiled. But even in disgrace, he wrote with fire. And from that fire came ideas that still burn today. His most famous work, The Prince, written in 1513, wasn't just a guide to ruling a kingdom. It was a razor-sharp treatise on human behavior, ambition, fear, and loyalty. Contrary to popular belief, Machiavelli wasn't advocating cruelty. He was explaining reality. He followed this with the Discourses on Livy, a reflection on republican governance and collective leadership and the art of war, where he emphasized discipline, merit, and the structure of command. Machiavelli's philosophy wasn't cynical, it was clinical. He stripped away illusions about leadership and exposed the raw mechanics of influence, what motivated people, what bonded them, and what made them rebel. He wrote for rulers, but his lessons resonate with today's leaders, managers, and team builders. Because whether you command an army or lead a creative team, the principles remain. Choose wisely, lead decisively, and never forget the nature of those who follow you. As we journey deeper into Machiavelli's mind, we'll uncover the core strategies he believed were essential to building something strong, something that lasts, not through luck, not through charm, but through understanding. Machiavelli believed the strength of a leader was only as solid as the people he surrounded himself with. In his view, the downfall of many rulers, and by extension many modern teams, was not external enemies, but the internal failure to choose the right allies. He warned, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Let's break this down. Know your players. Machiavelli urged leaders to study their people not by what they said, but by what they did. Observe closely. How do they handle pressure? Are they loyal when no one's watching? Do they flatter for favor or stand firm in conflict? In today's terms, this means conducting deep character assessments, not just reviewing resumes. It means identifying who thrives under structure, who performs best with autonomy, who leads and who follows, willingly or reluctantly. Machiavelli's insight was psychological. People are moved more by self-interest than idealism. A strong leader must understand these motives and align them with the team's purpose. The importance of talent and skill. Flattery is easy to fake. Skill is not. Machiavelli emphasized merit over favoritism. In the Discourses, he argued that a republic, or any organization, thrives when appointments are based on competence, not connections. In today's competitive landscape, this translates to hiring for skill fit as much as culture fit. A charismatic person who cannot deliver results becomes a liability masked in charm. But skill alone is not enough. Machiavelli knew that putting a skilled but disloyal person in a key role is like arming a traitor. So how do we strike the balance? Building trust and loyalty. Trust for Machiavelli was not assumed. It was earned and maintained through clarity, incentives, and shared goals. In The Prince, he explains that fear can bind a team, but respect sustains it. In the workplace, this means clear communication of goals and expectations, transparent reward systems, a culture where loyalty is reciprocated, not exploited. When people know they'll be recognized for results and protected during risk, they'll fight harder, stay longer, and align deeper with the mission. But the moment they sense that loyalty is one-sided, that the leader demands it but never returns it, they begin to drift, sometimes quietly, sometimes dangerously. Machiavelli wasn't romantic about this. He understood that loyalty is rarely unconditional. It's conditional on leadership, on fairness, on vision. Choose wisely, develop deliberately, and reward loyalty not with empty words, but with responsibility, growth, and trust. That is how you build not just a team, but a force. To Machiavelli, chaos wasn't just disorder. It was the silent killer of empires. He believed that for any group, be it a military unit, a governing body, or a modern team, to function effectively, it needed more than ambition and talent. It needed structure, clear roles, lines of authority, a chain through which decisions could flow and consequences could return. This wasn't about control. It was about coherence, defining roles and responsibilities. Machiavelli learned from the collapse of states that ambiguity breeds conflict. In The Art of War, he stressed that soldiers without defined roles become liabilities. They question orders. They improvise dangerously. They crumble under pressure. In today's organizational world, the same applies. When responsibilities overlap, egos clash. When no one owns a task, no one finishes it. When leadership is unclear, accountability disappears. A modern team must be orchestrated, not just assembled. Each member should know their place, not in a demeaning way, but in a purposeful one. There's power in clarity. Chain of command. One of Machiavelli's most controversial insights was the necessity of a clear hierarchy. He wrote, "A wise prince must not rely on others to act in his interest. He must structure his court, so all decisions lead back to him." At first glance, this seems autocratic, but look deeper. Machiavelli wasn't rejecting collaboration. He was demanding alignment. In a strong team, authority must be centralized where strategy lives, and decentralized where execution thrives. That means strategic decisions at the top, tactical autonomy at the ground level, a feedback loop that connects the two. Hierarchy, when done right, doesn't suppress initiative. It supports it with guardrails. Delegation and empowerment, true. Strength, Machiavelli believed, was not in micromanaging, but in delegating wisely. In The Prince, he warns against doing everything oneself. A prince who tries to do everything himself is bound to fail. The key lies in identifying who is capable, loyal, and ready, and then entrusting them with real power. Modern leaders often falter here. They hire talent, then suffocate it with control. Machiavelli would say, "You either trust your people, or you haven't chosen the right ones." Delegation without empowerment is theater. Real delegation is letting go. Strategically empowered teams become invested teams. And invested teams don't just follow, they build. In the Machiavellian view, structure isn't about domination. It's about direction. It's a framework within which individuals thrive, roles become meaningful, and missions become achievable. Hierarchy gives a team shape. Empowerment gives it soul. Leadership to Machiavelli was not a performance, it was a responsibility. He viewed leaders as architects of both destiny and discipline. Their words inspire, but their actions define the environment, and more importantly, their ability to understand human psychology is what turns a collection of individuals into a loyal, mission-driven team. Let's explore how Machiavelli approached leadership, not as a fantasy of greatness, but as a calculated craft, inspiring action and purpose. One of the greatest misconceptions about Machiavelli is that he promoted fear over inspiration. But in the discourses, he acknowledges that people fight hardest for causes they believe in. That shared purpose, more than gold or punishment, is the foundation of loyalty. In modern teams, this principle echoes loudly. Employees don't just want a paycheck, they want meaning. Leaders who articulate why the mission matters ignite something deeper than compliance. They awaken conviction. It's not just about what we're building, but why we're building it. Machiavelli knew when people feel they're part of something greater than themselves, they will sacrifice, innovate, and persist. The power of rewards and recognition. Machiavelli understood incentives with uncanny precision. He wrote, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear." But he also recognized that rewards, when applied strategically, elevate morale far more effectively than punishment. In team building, this becomes a vital lever. Public recognition, timely promotions, meaningful praise. These are not just gestures. They are psychological reinforcements, signals that effort matters, that growth is seen. Rewards must be proportional, visible, and aligned with values. Celebrate not only outcomes, but behaviors that reflect the team's ethos: initiative, resilience, collaboration. When rewards reinforce the right behavior, culture is shaped from within. Machiavelli would call that sustainable power. Navigating conflict and dissent, but even the most inspired teams clash. Conflict is inevitable. Dissent will rise. Machiavelli never feared conflict. He feared unresolved conflict. In the discourses, he advocates for open confrontation over hidden resentment. A healthy republic, like a healthy team, must allow grievances to surface, not to destroy unity, but to refine it. Modern leadership often avoids conflict in the name of harmony, but Machiavelli would argue that avoiding conflict only delays collapse. Great leaders encourage honest disagreement, mediate without ego, use conflict to clarify, not to punish. Handled correctly, conflict can be a crucible where better ideas are forged and where stronger trust is built, because nothing proves a leader's integrity like how they handle opposition. Leadership, in the Machiavellian sense, is neither tyrannical nor sentimental. It's psychological, strategic, human. Motivate with purpose, recognize with precision, and never fear the fire of conflict. It may be where your team is truly forged. Centuries have passed since Niccolò Machiavelli penned his strategies under candlelight, exiled from power yet armed with piercing insight. And yet, his lessons ring clearer today than ever before, especially in the chaotic, fast-paced world of modern teams. From startups to global enterprises, remote collectives to frontline operations, the core of team success still rests on timeless principles of leadership, structure, and human nature. Let's bring Machiavelli's wisdom into the present, adapting to modern business. Machiavelli lived in a world of princes and power brokers, but his principles adapt seamlessly to today's boardrooms and back ends. His emphasis on choosing capable allies, defining structure, and managing perception is mirrored in startup founders. Selecting co-founders' HR teams, building cross-functional collaborations, project managers navigating diverse remote teams. Where modern systems thrive is where Machiavelli's truths are quietly applied. Teams built on merit, trust, and purposeful leadership. We live in a world of complexity. But complexity doesn't negate structure. It demands it. The importance of ethical leadership. This is where we diverge from the shadow of Machiavelli and refine his vision for our era. Machiavelli is often accused of amorality. He advocated for manipulation when necessary, but today, manipulation backfires. We live in a world of transparency, digital permanence, and ethical expectations. Trust is the currency of leadership now. Teams don't just want strong leaders. They want just ones. The ethical leader doesn't need to abandon Machiavelli. They need to evolve him. Instead of exploiting human nature, they understand it and use that understanding to build culture, not control. Modern Machiavellianism isn't about deceit. It's about strategic empathy, building lasting teams. Finally, Machiavelli knew that leadership wasn't a one-time act. It was a lifelong discipline. In his words, he who builds on the people builds on mud. But today, we've come to see the truth slightly differently. You don't build on the people, you build with them. Sustainable teams require continuous feedback, ongoing skill development, shared rituals and values, openness to evolution. What lasts is what listens. What grows is what reflects, and what leads is what learns. You don't just need visionaries. You need vision systems, processes that renew clarity, alignment, and momentum across every level of the team. That is how you build a team that doesn't just survive chaos, but thrives in it. Final words. Niccolò Machiavelli may have written for princes and politicians, but beneath his ink lies a blueprint for leadership that transcends time. Choose wisely, structure strategically, lead humanely, motivate purposefully, and evolve constantly. Because in the end, strong teams aren't an accident of charisma or luck. They are the result of design, intelligent, intentional, and relentless. And that is a lesson even Machiavelli would admire. See you in the next video.